Harrisburg. And Republicans and Democrats are really, really fired up about it and ready to cross lines over it because it's important to people, especially moms and dads. One thing about our district is that one of the reasons that when they asked me to run, they thought that I was a good candidate for this district is that the average age of the district is 40 years old. I'm 40 years old. Average household income is $99,000 a year, which is actually a high median income for Pennsylvania. But this is actually a very affluent area. And so it's actually lower than what most people expect to hear. And so this district is very much families, people with children, and even just average Americans who care about the same things and want our kids to be able to go to school and be safe and go to our playgrounds and be safe. And so I think that these issues have really hit at the heart of the people in this district. And I think people are ready to throw out politics and make these things change.
You mentioned going around and knocking on doors and talking a little bit about your strategic map. Can you talk a little bit about sort of what your strategy is running for office as a first-time candidate? What are the things that you're focusing on? Is it a lot of door knocking? Are there other things that you're trying to do to get your name out there?
So our biggest thing is knocking on doors. Obviously, it's the number one way to get voters to come out to the polls. So, we have had a really strong ground operation of volunteers that come out and help us with canvassing almost every weekend and during the week. So our number one way that we are reaching voters is at their doorstep. We've done a lot of also getting out there in the digital world and with different groups like Indivisible and the different resistance groups. So we have groups like Turn PA Blue who've been helping us. We have groups like Red to Blue, Flippable, and we also have a group called the Sunrise Movement, which is a group of millennials who are focused on climate change, and they've actually put an entire house of fellows in the district to help us get out there and knock on doors and talk to people here about climate change and how what's happening right here in our district is a huge component to climate change. And for them, these individuals that are out with us are young people. And so this affects their future and their children's futures, and they care a whole lot about it. So we've had a lot of grassroots help just get out to voters and help touch them with the issues that they care about and engage people in the conversation. The other thing that is really important, I believe, is helping people to understand their stake in the game. So it's not just about getting people to vote. It's about getting people to see that they are stakeholders in our whole political system. And so it's not just about showing up to vote, but it's also about participating and joining a campaign, helping a candidate, sharing the values that you believe in so that when you're out at a rally, I would say, imagine the difference that this group of people would make. I just left a rally, actually. I was just at a Families Belong Together rally. And right before I left, I said, imagine the difference that this whole group of people could make if they had legislators in Harrisburg who actually shared their values. And instead of begging people to act like human beings, we actually could come to the table and talk about solutions to these problems with people who shared our values. And so it's really important for people to understand that they're stakeholders. They're not just voters. And they need to come out and help, and they need to be a part of it, because it's not just about me. It's about our values, and it's about what we want to see for our families and our future. So that's very much my message is just, when I talk to people, I ask them about, what's their stake and how do they see themselves in the puzzle. And my biggest goal is to engage as many people and empower as many people to become part of the process as possible.
I think one of the things that's been most exciting about watching Democratic candidates this cycle, especially first-time candidates, is how vocal about their positions people are being. So we're seeing people finally talking about guns, that is a topic that people are saying we need to do something about and not hiding back, sort of being like, no,
right.
No. And the same with the environment and women's rights. And, there's a lot of things that I think people are really talking about a lot more this cycle.
Right.
And so are you seeing are people responding to that sort of thing positively? Because, the way that you're discussing this and certainly looking at your Facebook page, it's true that you're very vocal about your positions on these and your passions about some of these issues.
Yeah, I think that what people appreciate the most is that I'm very real. I will be honest with people, even when I don't agree with them. And one of the things that I think is really important is to be respectful when someone doesn't agree with you, but to continue to engage in the conversation, because I'm not always looking to change your mind. I'm just asking when I engage in that conversation with somebody. Choice is a big one. I am a very openly pro-choice woman, and this district is 68% pro-choice, but we have a lot of pro-life voters. And so, a lot of people shy away from the conversation, but I think it's a really important conversation to have, because I think so much pro-choice candidates and pro-choice politicians get painted as these baby killers and, these really ugly images, when the reality is, many of us are mothers too. We've just had different experiences in life, and different experiences that have led us to take a position that's different. And sometimes when we can talk about that and see the humanity in each other, Brene Brown says it all the time, like, you can't hate somebody when you can feel them, touch them, and look them in the eye. And so I think it's really important to have those conversations with people and continue to engage in the conversation and respect people's values, and ask them to see you as a human being and let them see you as a human being. So many times I think politicians are afraid to let people see their humanity because it makes them appear vulnerable or weak. But to me, I think your power is in your vulnerability, and your power is in your humanity. And so it's really important for me that people see that side, and that they can see me and understand me, and know that, no matter what, even if you don't agree with me, I still see you as a human being, and it's important to me to hear what you have to say. And I hope that people will give me the same respect and the same service. And so I think I feel like it's received really well. And most people that I talk to, I have a neighbor who is single issue pro-life voter, and he was like, I want to vote for you, but I need to know where you stand on this issue. And we had a long conversation about my personal story and how my sister received a fetal diagnosis at an 18-week ultrasound. And even though she'd continued forward with the pregnancy and they live a very challenging life today, they did that by choice. And so in doing that, in living a life that they live, like, you have to be able to do that. You have to do that by choice to give your child the best life that they deserve. And so, I think a lot of times we fail to share our humanity with people and share our stories with people. And in doing that, it allows your opposition to paint an ugly story around your positions. And so to me, I'm just very real with people, and I share my life with them. I share who I am with them. And it's received really well. People always point out that they feel like I'm very authentic and real.
Is there anything else you would like for our listeners to know, either about you or about your campaign?
I mean, I think my biggest message for people is that we all have a stake in the game. And the biggest thing for me when I was dealing with this issue in our community with this pipeline going into my backyard was that I felt powerless. And I felt like my government had failed me. And in doing what I could at a grassroots level, I learned about my stake and how I haven't been active enough and how I haven't been involved. And I told someone tonight, a year ago when we were looking to change our local leaders, our township supervisors, I was the biggest resistor. I was asked every week to go out and canvass, and I was like, I have 2 kids and I don't have time for that, and I don't want to talk to strangers, and I'm afraid someone's going to yell at me or slam the door in my face. And I had a million excuses for why I didn't want to knock on doors. And I said, I'll do everything else. I'll host parties, I'll record voicemails, I'll do phone banking. But I really was resistant to going out and knocking on doors and canvassing. And so one of my friends, who actually is the friend who asked me to consider running for office months later, said to me, Danielle, you're perceived as a leader in this community. And if you come out and do this and people see you doing it, they're going to come out and do it too. And so I was even still resistant. And I said, you know what? I will do it once. You can take a picture and post it on Facebook. You're doing all the talking. I'm not talking. And I'm never going to do it again. And this is just a photo op. So he was like, okay, I'll take it. And I went out with him. We went out on a Wednesday night, and he did the first 3 houses with me. And, I was like, I'm not talking to strangers. You're going to do all the talking. He did all the talking for the first 3 houses. And by the 4th house, I was like, you know what? You do that side of the street. I'll do this side of the street. I got this. This is actually fun. And I have actually been out canvassing more weekends than not since that time, almost a year ago now. So, it's really scary to think about stepping out of your comfort zone and going and knocking on a stranger's door and doing things like that. But the reality is it's really actually inspiring for people who feel upset about the news and feel upset about the state of our country right now. The best thing you can do for yourself is to go out and knock on doors and realize how many people share your values and share your feelings of being upset and wanting to make change. That's the only thing that keeps me going every day, is knowing how many people share my values and want to see change just like I do. And so I always say it's like the best medicine to the news right now is to get out there and knock on doors and talk to voters, because you will start to realize you're not alone. And you're helping in doing that, helping to make the change that you want to see and that all of the people who share your values want to see. So that's my biggest message to everyone, is just take a little bit of a risk, do something a little bit different, step out of your comfort zone, get involved with someone, because it's not just about that candidate. It's about your values and it's about what you want to see happen. And you truly can make a difference and you have a stake in the game.
All right. Well, everyone now listening is sold on your campaign. So how can they get involved with your campaign?
So you can find my campaign at Danielle for the number 4 PA.com. And on the website, there are ways you can fill out a volunteer form and you can volunteer. If you're in the district, you can click the commit to vote link and commit to vote. You can donate. You can sign up to host a meet and greet. Through our volunteer link, you'll be able to sign up to do phone banking. So if you're not local and you're not in the district, you can still help with phone banking. You can help we do postcard writing. We've had a lot of success with text messaging. And so if from anywhere in the country, you can be a part of this campaign. And one of the other cool things, I know that you talked to Katie Muth today. One of the other cool things is that Katie is my overlapping Senate district. So Katie and I do everything we can together to share resources and, get further faster with less money and less help and name recognition and all that stuff. So we share our resources in every way that we can. And so I always tell people that when you volunteer with my campaign or with Katie's campaign, you are getting more bang for your buck because you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You can sign up on my website to volunteer. You can sign up on Katie's website to volunteer. And in most cases, you're going to end up helping both of us. And we've had a lot of success with that. And really, it's been a great experience working together with another candidate, to help get our values out there.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much for talking to us. We know you're busy with campaigning and momming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off the album Elephant-Shaped Trees by the band Imunari, and we're using it with express permission of the band. Our logo and all original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and is done expressly for Two Broads Talking Politics. We can be found on our website at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com. You can reach us by email at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com, on Twitter at twobroadstalk, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us on patreon.com. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and anywhere podcasts are found. If you are interested in advertising on Two Broads Talking Politics, please email us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com.